Luck stays with those who work for their dreams, says YY Noodle King Mr. Binod Chaudhary. Mr. Binod Chaudhary एक अलग किस्म के बिलियनेयर है। वो अपनी कमाई के बड़ा हिस्सा फिलैंथ्रोपी में स्पेंड करते हैं। हाल में नेपाल के अर्थक्वेक में बहुत नुकसान हुआ। Mr. Chaudhary ने through CG Foundation spent huge amounts in relief work. Mr. Chaudhary जो नेपाल में रहते हैं एक ट्रू ब्लू इंटरनेशनल बिजनेसमैन है जिनके over 80 businesses in 30 countries हैं। उनके businesses include banking, telecom, hotels, infrastructure and education. Mr. Binod Chaudhary is helped in his empire by his 3 young sons. So let's catch up with him as he's visiting from Nepal. मैं हूं नीवा जैन. Welcome to Zee Business and welcome to the Big Idea. Hello, Mr. Chaudhary. Welcome to the Big Idea. What a pleasure. What an honor. You're here straight from Nepal. Firstly, I must ask you, Mr. Chaudhary, you're third generation. Lekin you have defied that myth that the third generation generally loses it all. Kaise kiya? How have you done it?
Well, I mean, I am third generation.
Yes,
if you look at, if you go back to the history from where my grandfather started some 120 years ago, coming from Rajasthan, going all the way to Nepal. But you know, really, in a relatively big way, the journey had just started. So you can put it that my grandfather and father laid down a solid foundation, you know, which needed a different level of energy to be taking it forward.
Correct.
And that's what one was destined to have done over the last 40 years.
I mean, it's amazing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but at age 18, you took over the helm of a fairly modest, successful company, and where you've taken it. I mean, it defies logic. It's dreamy. The quality is almost surreal. It couldn't have been easy, sir.
Well, I mean, you know, size is relative. So is success, isn't it?
Yeah, very relative.
I mean, but I've always said that despite coming from a small country, this small man from a small country always had big dreams.
The first billionaire of Nepal, how modest you are.
I think, you know, at the end of the day, I also believe that there is no monopoly of a big company or a big country or someone coming from a big family, well-known family.
Beautiful.
Or someone who has gone to, you know, schools like B schools like the Wharton or whatever, Harvard.
Stanford, you said it,
sir. You just don't. It's the hunger right here, and it's the vision here.
Right here.
And if you're supported by the right set of circumstances, people, I always believe that meeting the right person at the right time is equally important at the right moment. So it's all, and rest, a little bit destiny too.
Destiny. Well, I want to add in, I mean, I'm backtracking a little bit, but you made a very interesting comment in one of your interviews where you said, yes, luck plays a huge role, but beyond the component of luck, there's a lot more involved.
Absolutely. I mean, luck probably does that finishing, gives you that finishing touch, you know.
Yes, beautiful.
You know, like if you're a golfer, you may hit a beautiful ball when sometimes it just touches the hole. Sometimes it goes in and sometimes it goes out.
Good one. That's a good metaphor.
Yeah,
so
so
true.
it's steady. That's where the luck plays.
Yes. Great
but
metaphor.
luck can't take the ball to the ball.
Beautiful. What a metaphor, Mr. Chaudhary. Achha, I want to ask you, when you started at the age of 18, your toughest moment in the beginning?
Oh my God. It was a nightmare. I mean, you know, I was not mentally prepared. You know, I was running with a friend of mine, the first discotheque of the country. Like anybody else, you know.
At age 18.
The priorities were different.
Who had dreams of being a chartered accountant.
Yes, and I wanted to come to, go to Mumbai to do my CA. Mumbai was a city, you know, it was like a dream city.
My God.
And then suddenly the life changed. I mean, and I realized that my whole world crumbled down in terms of my dreams.
Correct. Oh, you felt that way?
Personal level, because my father had to be, you know, completely sort of taken a back seat. And the people who he had entrusted, and I've written this in my autobiography, you know, they had different agendas. So it was 180-degree turn.
My God.
and then there was very little choice. So it was really not a matter of choice. It was a responsibility. It was an obligation, and also, you know, somewhere deep inside there was a sense. There was a sense of doing whatever it takes to not let my father, who was unwell at that time after having spent perhaps 40 years of, he started even younger than me. When my grandfather used to go and sell clothes in the Rana palaces, sometimes he used to carry those physically, you know. So he had a dream of his own size.
That's what propelled you, your father.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I must tell you, sir, in all the people we've interviewed for The Big Idea, everyone, no matter where their father comes from, it's the father who propelled them.
I have no doubt about it.
When you started, that time at age 18, what was the energy that propelled you in each step of the way? Was it YY Noodle King that was the first big fat break? What would you say was your first big fat break?
No, not really. You know, I mean, before that, we were in the business of importing and exporting
the garments.
I mean, we had put together, which was a very well-known department store in Nepal.
Okay.
You know, Nepal used to be the shopping hub for Indians.
Yes.
Hong Kong and Singapore were foreign countries.
Far behind, exactly.
Okay, Nepal was not. The people used to come to Nepal to go to Pashupatinath, to go and play at the casino and to come and shop at Arun Emporium.
I did do that 30 years ago. I remember that. You're right.
You remember Arun Emporium, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
sir,
so that was a. So we took that to the next level, and then we produced. And I must give credit to my father. You know, he was very much the leader. The first biscuit factory of the country, competing with Britannias and Parleys. Reversing the whole process, we used to get biscuits from India, but we started sending biscuits out to northeast of India. And then that followed starting a flour mill and plenty, so much more flour to do.
My God.
What do you do with that? We had to find something.
Yeah.
And as luck would have it, while traveling back from Bangkok to Nepal, saw boxes of a product, you know, on the bag, the big fat idea.
Unbelievable. The
YY, that's how I was born.
YY Noodle Cake. So, chairman of the Chaudhary conglomerate, #1 on the Forbes list of Nepali businessmen, Mr. YY Noodle King, and many, many other avatars. But share with us, Mr. YY Noodle King.
No, so as I was telling you the story, you know, I mean, what do you call that? The feasibility study or the big idea, the name of your show, was born on top of a baggage belt at the airport in Kathmandu. Okay, we had to do something which revolved around the wheat flour milling. And that's how the idea was born. And today, you know, that's one single product from Nepal which is sold in more than 30 countries. We have 8 manufacturing plants in India with a 20% market share. We are starting in Middle East, Africa. So, you know, this also proves the fact that ideas can be born anywhere.
That's beautiful, that's what's so inspiring. What's the USP of YY? Is it the taste? Is it that you just have perfected the art of distribution? What would you say?
I think it is primarily the product.
Okay,
Okay, it's the versatility of the product. You know, it's the only product which you can have as a munch, have as a soup, and have as a meal.
Okay, the versatility.
And moreover, you know, there are 3 generations of young people who've grown up with YY. Okay, and they are our ambassadors. I'm sure you've never seen YY is being advertised in a typical sense, at least in the national media. We don't do that.
Why so? Why do you?
Because I think it has evolved organically. It has grown. People who've been consuming YY are all over the world, and they are the ones who ask YY. YY is YY today because of the pull factor, not the push factor.
I love it. Good one. Well stated. Now, are you a connoisseur of YY? Or any of your family members a connoisseur of YY?
I'm a vegetarian. And you know, 99% of YY is non-vegetarian. But I have eaten vegetarian YY.
You have. And it's good. It tastes good. Okay, so from YY, if we just systematically take, you know, the way you built your global empire, what was the next vertical you worked on?
You know, food is very big. I mean, and it's not only YY, because YY is so well known. We do the entire range from all kinds of processed food, snacks and beverages, ranging from the breweries to water to Tetra Pak to, you know, the whole range, which is a fairly big and very fast growing and we do all our own brands. That's important. I've always believed that you need to work to build your own brand. The second big thing that happened was in financial services sector. When Nepal was opening up, Nepal opened up in its banking industry much before India did. Okay, and so we acquired a significant stake from the government of UAE in a bank which is called Nabil, which is the largest bank of the country, and it's one of the most professionally managed bank, which is now trying to grow beyond the territories of Nepal. Which is bigger than many international banks which are active there. We are, of course, also active in insurance, leasing, money remittance. That's a big business in Nepal. But when we decided back in 1990, that when Nepal was also posed with some political issues, the Maoist insurgencies, and also moreover a desire to take, like any family or any group wants to do, open new frontiers. Where do we go and what do we do? So we created a company out of Singapore, which is today, which has taken the shape of CG Corp Global. That's what we call our global face. And with our offices in most parts of Middle East, Africa, Asia, of course India, including a hotel in New York. We teamed up with the Taj. And I think that's what I gave. That's what I take as a big break, as in terms of our international expansion. And as destiny would have it, we landed up picking up a major stake in Sri Lanka as well as in Maldives. Turned around along with our partners, who are the most distinguished hotel company, the way I find them. Created the iconic brand called the Exotica, Taj Exotica in Maldives, which the whole world talks about. Followed by a second one. And the journey of the hospitality just moved on, and then we went into the wellness industry, the farm in Philippines. Many people know the wildlife industry, hospitality in the Madhya Pradesh, the Mawa Kotis, and by bringing in the South Africans, the well-known.
What would you say has been the toughest point in your business career?
Today?
No, if you look back.
Well, I think probably most people go through that challenge, When you have a dream bigger than your size, then one of the challenges that you are faced with is building an organization of world-class people. And that doesn't happen unless you have a size. And size doesn't happen unless you have world-class people. So that's a situation where most companies get dissolved. The managing the process of graduating from a family-owned and run company to a professionally run company which is capable of sustaining and growing worldwide.
Exactly, that's globally.
According to me. And that's what where we also faced, but we managed that. And today it's a different world.
I have to add in, and you're saying that, Mr. Chaudhary, and you have 3 boys. So that's very interesting. For you, it must have been that much more difficult.
Yes.
That much more challenging.
Well, having 3 boys, of course, can be a challenge, I can tell you.
In terms of demarcating the business, satisfying everybody,
I mean, I would say that having 3 boys, first of all, to align them in a single objective, coming from 3 different
thought processes, mindsets,
styles, lifestyle.
Exactly, everything.
Yeah, everything, to bring them aligned, because you can't force, you can't create an entrepreneur. You have to be born.
Wow, I like that.
Right?
Really, so you feel that way. I want to go back to that.
They have to be equally passionate.
You do feel that you can't create an entrepreneur. It's
totally
inbuilt.
Believe. And neither I believe that a B school creates an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I think every management practice, every management style has its own inherent,
DNA,
inherent
so to speak.
DNA of the specific business as well as the environment where you operate. And every organization has its own USP. There is no set theories or, let's say, principles that you can just pick up and adapt.
You can box in and say that's what
you
works.
You can do that.
Okay,
so
interesting.
Having 3 boys, to my mind, was a huge opportunity to make them steer different ideas and different thought processes, and particularly in 3 different geographies.
That's another thing. Exactly.
But these young minds, full of energies, also need a huge sort of stock of maturity and experience. And so to bring that professional team, to blend that with them, and have a team which is energetic, vibrant, but same time very prudent and very practical, is a very critical task.
Beautiful. Mr. Chaudhary, I feel actually having met you and chatted with you, that's really being myopic. I think there's a lot more you're doing, which I think I want to discuss that. One is the foundation. You know, the Chaudhary Foundation is doing a lot of great work, especially in light of the earthquakes in Nepal. I want you to expand on that.
Well, I mean, all of us know that today Nepal is facing a challenge of a magnitude which
unimaginable.
Nobody can imagine. It's far bigger than the size of our capability. It's far bigger than what we can handle. You know, 10,000 people died.
Displaced.
That's also official numbers, you never know. Probably hundreds of, it could be even thousands, couldn't even be rescued. They're still probably hidden somewhere under the debris. 700,000 homes completely damaged and unlivable. 6,000 to 7,000 schools, and I don't want to even talk about the infrastructure. And
but
these
sir,
are in
you know the numbers. I'm very
difficult territory. These are mountains. You know, the monuments, the homes, the beautiful heritage, architecture that I've seen growing.
The culture
growing
of Nepal,
up,
the ethos.
I saw crumbling down right in front of my eyes. So it's a huge emotional setback. It's a huge physical setback. So we as a group, I mean, it was not it didn't take us an iota of a second for us to decide that this is the time when we have to put together whatever we have in terms of our ability to mobilize our own organization and people and friends both in Nepal and abroad and get into the task. Stage one was relief. Our own family members were going to different villages and mountains.
Wow.
Stage two
That's
was
amazing,
working on
sir.
construction of shelters. So we partnered with Seeds. It's a INGO which is also doing good work in J&K and Uttaranchal to build these transit homes which are called shelters, which is still usable for 3-4 years at a cost of about $700 to $800 per piece. And we brought in Pricewaterhouse Foundation, because 700,000 homes. Even if we are going to do 10,000 and 100 schools, that's tip of an iceberg. So we need to mobilize the international community. And I'm also taking the opportunity of your show to share this with your audience.
It's too important, exactly.
To come and team up.
Yes.
I mean, we are not looking for any kind of a credit. Right? Credit will go to who does it belong to. Pricewaterhouse is there to define the processes and to make sure that it's all our money as well as the money of others are well spent.
Exactly. Well spent and goes in the right
way. Well spent and goes in the right direction. So I think this is something
collective effort,
which is taking a lot of my personal time, the time of my family, and I think we made a serious progress.
That is
I'm so happy to share with you. Perhaps the first lot of the homes will be delivered in next 2 weeks' time.
That's quick.
Yeah.
Less than 2 months.
So because we want to do it as many homes as possible before the monsoon creeps in.
Wonderful, Mr. Chaudhary. That is really something to feel so proud about.
Thank
and
you.
so happy. That's amazing.
And I'm so happy that it was. We could participate. We could.
The foundation is doing great work.
Which is being recognized. This initiative is being recognized. Jack Ma from Alibaba.com. He wanted to partner with us to build 1,000 homes.
Yes, I read up on that. It's amazing.
So there are. I'm going on the 14th to Hong Kong. There are 2 events being organized by the media community as well as by the business community, and they want me to come and talk and share. Because everybody, this is seen the level of polarization, the level of culmination of sympathies and desire to work never before.
Collective, yes.
Can you believe China and India having joined hands to build Nepal?
I can't get over your passion for this. I mean, that itself is so riveting. Amazing.
Really,
That's
so
just so beautiful.
But I'm also conscious, just having said all this, what we've been able to do or what we are doing is peanuts. It's a huge challenge. I think it's gone.
Task.
People ask me that, what's going to happen to business or what's going to happen to new investments? My answer is that, look, Nepalese people are very resilient. We've seen setbacks one after the other. We've seen the fall of different political regimes.
And the monarchy.
We've seen the fall of, the whole palace, whole royal family being killed or whatever.
Yeah, I'm getting chills.
Okay, we've seen the Maoist insurgency for 15 years. We've seen the rule change, swing from a monarchy to a Maoist-led government in the
Gone back
parliament.
to a bit of a democratic.
But Nepal's come back.
Correct.
Nepal has that, and I have every hope that this is going to bring Nepalese back together into a united nation, you know, a country which is cohesive, which is going to work with the world and take Nepal to the next level.
Mr. Chaudhary, with you at the helm and with you guiding, I'm sure it's going to be that way. It has been one of the most riveting, inspiring and motivational interviews ever. We wish you all the best, Mr. Chaudhary.
Thank you so much.
In
And
all
I must
your
say,
present and future endeavors.
one of the most pleasant and one of the most rewarding experience for me too.
Thank you, because you've done many interviews. I take it as an honor. Thank you, sir.